Hey guys, and welcome. Chris Nash here from LSEO, your full service digital marketing agency. Last week, we started the first session of a 6-week series to provide digital marketing tips and tactics, especially during this difficult time that we're all going through. I hope you guys are all safe and sound or doing as best as you can be under the circumstances. This week, we're going to be covering one of the most important aspects of promoting your business and your website. And that's another piece of SEO, or search engine optimization, link building. Link building is one of the most important tactics you can use right now. So let's jump into the presentation here and we will go over this together. Right now, there's a bunch of questions out there. I've literally seen posts on LinkedIn and other places online and articles written about, is SEO dead? Is link building worth it? Is link building dead? I love when people attack the methods and the tried and true principles that ultimately help businesses get them create opportunities to rank online. So today's presentation is all about the importance of links and actually how to go out there and get these links. And I think we have to back up just a little bit and talk about what link building really is and why it matters. So when Google was started, when Larry and Sergey actually built the original version of Google, they came out with this idea that the more links and the more references that were connected to an academic piece, or in this case, to search results or to websites out there, the more relative importance, the more sort of votes they would get, and the more prominent they'd be in people's minds. As a result of that, they built an engine to go out there and prioritize the most important web pages on the internet using that tactic. Fast forward to today, and links and content are still the number 1 and 2 drivers overall of what creates ranking online or your website's potential to show up on the internet. And like I said, I love when people criticize this, because if you look at the ranking factors and look at all of the data that's out there today, these are still the 2 primary ways to get your website to rank. And we already touched on content last week. We're going to go into that in more details in future installments of this series. But today we're going to focus exclusively on links. And one thing I want everyone to keep in mind is that Google, despite all of the intelligent and artificial intelligent updates that it's gone through and the advancements in its algorithm, ultimately it's still just a machine. And so what we try to do is to figure out a way to appropriately manipulate that machine, of course in an organic and constructive way, get our businesses and our websites to show up higher and give them the opportunity to rank. So the first question I think we ask ourselves is, why does authority matter and what is it? So Google and industry experts have coined this term called EAT, E-A-T. And what it stands for is expertise, authority, and trust. So the idea behind this is the websites on the internet all have a certain version of an EAT score. And a lot of people call this your domain authority, or DA, but in reality, you want, and what does it stand for? It's expertise, authority, and trust. So what you want to do is you want to build content, and you want to build a website, and you want to build a presence that checks all 3 of those boxes off. One of the primary ways to do that is to earn links from other websites that also have good EAT scores and that are valued and trusted by Google. And if those link back, those automatically give you votes to your website and increase your overall presence on the web and your opportunity to rank in Google. And really, the basics of this are, we want to give Google play right into their hands and give them and focus on the ranking factors that they actually care about. In this case, we're trying to build authority and trust. One of the primary ways you do that is to go out there and find other places on the web that are willing to call out or link back or comment or reference your site in a third-party website. So just to provide a little bit of background here, obviously all links aren't created equal. The more prominent and the more trusted a third-party website is that's actually going to link back to your site, the better. And the more natural that link is, you obviously don't want to try to manipulate the system in any way through all the negative tactics that are out there. Link building gets a bad name, and it's not an accident. because there are websites out there that are legitimately just selling opportunities. They're selling link backs to your page. That stuff must be avoided. The more natural and organic that this process is to Google, the more valuable those links are. So when you get these companies and these industry experts out there telling you that link building is dead in its sort of original sense, that's primarily what they're referring to. Don't try to manipulate the system in a way that's going to get you in trouble. This must be organic, real mentions, and ultimately, if you earn the link through the value or content, that's the best way to do it. The other thing I want to mention too is this is primarily a long-term strategy to build up your domain authority and your overall prominence in Google's mind over time. This isn't an overnight success. Obviously, if Google sees that you go from 0 to 100 in a matter of a couple days or a couple weeks, there's going to be a couple alarm bells there. So systematically trying to go after these tactics over time is absolutely the way to go. So let's jump right into the how, and actually how we get this done. I'm not gonna go through every one of these in detail. You know, obviously you guys can check back. We'll have this video posted through Facebook, through LinkedIn, and all the other channels in the future. But I wanted to touch on a few of these, and I'm gonna let you sort of look at this list briefly, and then we're gonna jump into some of these tactics directly. So manual outreach, like I mentioned, nothing trumps going out there and trying to actually find third-party websites that talk about your topic, talk about your expertise, and then find ways to contribute to those to ultimately earn links back to your website. Excuse me. Skyscraper techniques are those that when you go out there and you find existing great articles on a particular topic, and then you write something better and publish it on your own website, and ultimately that piece should earn better links out there on the internet because it's either more comprehensive, provides better information on a topic, or just goes into it in more detail. So similar to the 10 times content rule, don't just write one article. Write multiple supporting pieces about that topic so you in general become an authority on a topic. That's more likely to earn link backs out there in the link universe and content universe. Link reclamation is when you go out there and you find places on the web where your website's been referenced, but the actual link is dead. Or better yet, you find links to competition that are now serving up 404 or missing links, and you ask that web publisher to link to your content, which is actually updated, fresh, and valuable, and obviously no longer missing that link. You can build infographics on your site that are really valuable, that are easy to digest. People love linking to a really succinct way to tell a story in a graphical format. That's a really awesome way to get links. Influencers these days, you know how big that is. All of the social media influencers out there that are generating followers, if you write something or contribute to what they're doing, they're likely to link back out to you if you're providing value to them in some way or contributing to a topic that they care about. For example, give them a heads up. There's a good chance they'll link back. You guys all know this through Chris Jones, our CEO. Thought leadership is a really important way to do it. This webinar is an example of that. We're going to post this webinar in all the social media channels in the hopes that it ultimately gains a little bit more traction. So that's another great way to keep your brand top of mind, but beyond that, to generate real quality links by providing great thought leadership around a topic. And then obviously conducting original research. We love the survey approach. I think I referenced this in the content webinar from the first week. The idea is to go out there and to profile your audience, survey your audience. You can do this through places like SurveyMonkey. Super inexpensive to do, by the way. In many instances, surveying is virtually free. Then you turn around, package that data up in a really logical way. Oh, one great example, this is when we surveyed the fastest growing companies in the United States, and 80% of them told us that SEO was important. Well, then we turned around and wrote a piece on it, and we published that information, but ultimately with the idea that we're going to get link backs. And the final one is link magnets. And that's the idea where you create something compelling on a website. For example, like a mortgage calculator is one of the most oldest and you know, I mean, at this point, it's a little bit worn out, but the idea is to build a really great tool on the site that the broader community can use in your industry, and then people will link back to it because it's useful. So to go into a little bit more detail on some of these topics, publishing content on third-party sites. So one of the most effective ways to do it is through this organic way. You craft relevant content, go out there and ask these other sites if they wouldn't mind publishing your content. You're doing them a favor if you create real, engaging, valuable content, and then you go try to put it out there and publish it on sites that actually have relevancy, who are in your industry, or who might be the most engaging areas to put that content. Not only that, but if you get that content published on those sites, now the link back's actually more relevant. So this is a really important consideration. Links on sites that are more relevant and more high authority and more engaging, remember that EAT score that I told you about before, those are the ones that generate a higher level of interest. If you publish on a site that has nothing to do with your industry, it doesn't send the same signal. For example, if we're a digital marketing agency and we're getting published on an article that talks about marketing and search engine optimization, you can bet that link is going to be more valuable than one that talks about real estate, for example. So that's a big deal. And as you can see on the bottom of this, our organization has been published over 462 times. When we created this, it was 462, and we're beyond those numbers now. So Chris Jones has been able to put his content out there and get it published all over the internet. And we've done this through thought leadership, like I mentioned before. The second piece is press mentions. So obviously you got to be careful, because these days a ton of people understand PR. There's a bunch of organizations right now that'll put your PR piece out there. But what I want to talk about is more valuable, true newsworthy articles. So there are websites like PR Newswire where you can pick and choose where those articles get sent, whether it's geographic, whether it's industry based. You can just send it to the people that are most interested in what you're doing from a news standpoint. And if they think that article is worthy, they'll publish it for you across their network of news sources and put it out there. And in turn, if there's value in that piece, other stories, other news organizations will pick it up, and you'll gain natural organic links back off of that. So there's a great service called Help a Reporter Out, where literally reporters are going in there, they're asking for content. You can go in there and craft an article. There's literally hundreds of options in there to go write about different topics. You can give it back to them and give them something really valuable to ultimately link back. And it doesn't always have to be some monumental milestone in your organization. If you just publish something of absolute relevancy, like right now, for example, we could be talking about how to position your company from an SEO standpoint in difficult times, and why that's more important now than it is ever. That piece would probably get traction because it's top of mind, it's relevant, it's totally appropriate for the market, and people are looking for those answers right now. So nothing trumps manual outreach. So it's the more organic, the more natural it is. Yes, does this take time? 100%. You're out there looking for third-party opportunities. You're looking for content sites that are relevant. You're trying to track down content contact information for those sites that allow guest posting, etc. But yes, this takes work. But the flip side of it is that work pays off, because links, let's not forget, are still to this point the #1 ranking factor. So yes, we have to play the game to some degree, but nothing beats the manual outreach. So think about that from a local standpoint. Let's say you're a local business trying to create more local interest, and you have this big community of local resources, all these small websites around your local area. You can reach out to those places. You can make contributions to their websites. You could, I'll give you a great example. I was working with this local photographer, and she was taking pictures of these local restaurants. And I said, why don't you reach out to them, show them your awesome pictures, and ask if they wouldn't mind serving up a link back to your awesome blog piece you wrote on that. Well, of course, all those places said yes. She took unbelievable pictures, details. She literally detailed her dining experience there, took pictures of the dishes, took pictures of the food, took pictures of the restaurant. And of course, they're going to want to link back. It's so simple on one level. Yes, did that take effort? But I promise you that link was so valuable. And now you automatically are going to be seen as an authority and an expert, and people are going to go see the pictures and they're going to ultimately potentially link back even more. So at LSEO, we have literally a team that does nothing but go out and try to create these manual outreach approaches. So they literally all day they're out there trying to secure new mentions, and then we have a full team of content writers that are constantly trying to craft really engaging content on top of that. So in summation here, I wanted to show you the value and the importance of link building by yet again referring to this case study on Special Guest. Special Guest is obviously a sister company. It's one of our CEO's portfolio companies. It's a live entertainment booking platform who actually right now is doing virtual entertainment bookings. That's pretty cool given this economy. But we've been able to increase their presence primarily through search engine optimization content, but the biggest input we've had related to this has been link building. Look at that graph right now and the traffic increases that are primarily coming from the work that we're doing around link building. This is a classic case study, and I don't say this to toot our own horns. We're literally using our own tactics to do exactly what we're describing here. So we'd love for you to take advantage of that opportunity. We'd love for you to consider link building. If you need this approach here isn't for the purposes of sales. This is to demonstrate the true marketing principles and tactics that actually drive results. So link building is a huge component to that. I strongly encourage you to do a little bit more research on it, find ways to get these mentions. And if you have any questions, ultimately our goal here is to be a resource, particularly during these tough times, and to get your business and your websites out there more so you can be ranking on Google over time and ultimately surviving right now. If you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me directly. You can find us on LSEO.com. We're here for your questions, comments, and concerns, and we really appreciate you guys taking the time today. Thank you so much, and stay safe.